Now, what about the other direction? In the other direction, we are doing division and subtraction. All right, we are looking at how many groups we can pull out and what the remainder is that gets carried to that next place value. So I wrote it like this when we did the Babylonians. So I'm going to write it again that way as we walk through these examples, just so you can hopefully see it a little bit better. Groups of 1, groups of 20, groups of 400, groups of 8,000. If we needed to go higher than this, we could. All right, but for the number 3,575, we're not even going to use the groups of 8,000. So we're actually starting with groups of 400. See how many of those groups we can pull out and then carry on to the 20s, and then the ones are what's left over at that point. So we're taking the number 3,575 and seeing how many groups of 400 we are able to pull out. So I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to divide 3,575 divided by 400. And I have 8.9375. So 8 wholes, and there's going to be a remainder. How much of a remainder? We need to see how many groups we really just pulled out. 8 groups of 400. Right, which should be 3,200. And the leftover, the remainder portion, is what we started with, taking away this 3,200. So our remainder is going to be 375. That's the remainder here. I'm going to take a moment to note that, hey, we were able to pull out 8 groups of 400. Because this is what our picture is going to depend on at the very end, is actually the place values, the number of groups we were able to pull out of each of those place values. So 375 is the remainder now, and I want to pull out groups of 20. 375 divided by 20 is 18.75, so there's a remainder there. How to find out what that remainder is? We look at the 18 groups of 20. Just 360, and we see, oh, 375 minus 360. There are 15 left over. So there were 18 groups of 20, and this 15 is what carries to the ones place. Well, 15 groups of 1 is just 15 of them, meaning that that is really just what carries over into that ones place. And that's always going to be the case. Whatever's left over at the second lowest place value gets carried into the ones. The remainder gets carried over. Now we need to draw our symbols. Once again, on your homework, it's going to ask you to input it like this. But that's not actually how we write the Mayan numerals. It's just on the homework, you're not actually physically able to draw the symbols into the online program. But you need to be practicing writing them on your own. So ones are at the bottom, we build up from there. So 15 is at the bottom, 5, 10, 15. We move to the next place value, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 5, 6, 7, 8. This is our Mayan numeral for 3,575.